Hi everybody, Tom here, and I'm in town, so apologies for the traffic, but that'll come up again in a couple of minutes. It's significant here. This is Acer X Freemanii, the Freeman maple. It's named after Oliver Freeman, who worked with the United States Department of Agriculture, and back in 1933, he hybridized Acer saccharinum with Acer rubrum. That's the silver maple and the red maple. Now, as happens in nature, sometimes trees and shrubs and plants that are in the same genus can naturally hybridize, and that is true between red maple and silver maple. What he did was he did it intentionally, and therefore has been permanently connected with all commercially grown, propagated, and sold trees that are hybrids of those two. Basically, you get the best of both worlds. You get the fall color of red maple, and you get the growth rate of silver maple, not to mention the adaptivity of silver maple. One thing that I think a lot of people don't necessarily realize is that one of the trees that was planted like crazy when Dutch elm disease took out tens of millions of our street trees in the early part of the 20th century is the silver maple. Like many lowland species, wetland species, the silver maple and the red maple are pretty adaptive and tolerate soil compaction, tolerate salt, tolerate pollution. So silver maple was planted a lot, but silver maple is known for having really crummy branch attachment angles. The angles of attachment between the leaders and the lateral branches. And for that matter, it's very prone to having codominant stems, which I talk about a lot on here, and I will again briefly. Codominant stems basically allow the tree to move in multiple directions at the same time, and when those leaders fail, you have catastrophic damage not only to the tree, but to potentially to whatever is around the tree. Red maple, not so much. It's more likely to have a dominant central leader and better angles of attachment. So again, we get the best of both worlds here. The great fall color, the structure and form of red maple, the growth rate of silver maple. And if you know silver maple, you can recognize this more deeply cut leaf sinus here. The space between those lobes is called the sinus. And on silver maple proper, those are quite deep compared to red maple, sugar maple, and others. So it's a great tree, street tree, beautiful fall color. It does occur naturally in the wild, but that's not what you're going to see if you go to the tree store. They're not plucking them out of the wild. They are being grown and propagated from cuttings, rooted cuttings. Let this truck go by. And then grown in nurseries to sell. And of course, they're pruned along the way, so they look great when they come out. And it's a great choice. It's a native tree in the sense that those hybrids do occur. And of course, the parents of that tree are both native as well. We're talking New England and really Eastern North America in general, the red maple and the silver maple. So that's it, Acer Freemanii, Freeman maple. There are some cultivars of it. You're probably familiar with Autumn Blaze. It's very commonly sold. That's not a red maple. It might be called a red maple. It might be called a red maple because it's got red leaves, but it's actually a hybrid, Acer X Freemanii. Thanks for your interest. Happy fall.